How's everyone doing today? I do not have much prepped, so it's pretty much just gonna be whatever you guys want to talk about. Um, Maybe I can come up with something. Maybe I can grab something to go through. But as of right now, I'm kind of in the middle of a way overdue spring cleaning. Way late. Um, I have so many submissions I need to send out. Priority one for this week though was the eBay Vault submission. It turned into two submissions, too many cards to go in one. A little bit of min-maxing, figuring out the values, getting used to how that's going to go moving ahead. But yeah, two vault submissions are going to be headed out tomorrow morning. Shipment and all that's arranged. Um, but yeah, maybe I'll grab some cards to pre-grade. Maybe I'll look over BGS or PSA submission. It probably isn't going to happen by tomorrow, but probably for next week, I'll be doing about 100 cards to PSA, BGS, and CGC. All three of them. Definitely want to get some new cards out through the new CGC labels. I do already have some stuff in process at CGC. But yeah, Tennis Wolf, yours are, I guess your card is going into like a next week final round. It's actually 3 submissions. So I had said 2, but submission number 1 is all the fresh stuff that I showed in that video on Monday. Submission 2 is primarily consignor cards that I had already had here, and some of my own personal cards that I already had here. I'm actually sending off my Trophy Pikachu. A little bit bittersweet to chuck that one out there. It's going to be listed really high. It's not going to be like an aggressive sell price. But next week is like your last chance. I have Tennis Wolf's card just came in today. I have some other high-end cards coming in. I'll probably need to bleed in a few of my own cards. I might just chuck out a couple Art Academies if I need to step up the value to hit that minimum value threshold. But yeah, Tennis Wolf, yours will be going out by like next Wednesday at the latest. I just need to see. I need to see how and when other people's cards land. Naturally, you set a deadline of July 3rd, and you're gonna have some people sneaking in there a few days later, trying to get in on that first one. I did tell everyone. I told everyone that if you get it to me by Friday, you'll definitely be in second or third submission. But I'm gonna kind of push it to like the 12th. The 12th is your last chance. Delivered to me by the 12th. It will be entered that night. It will be shipped out like the 13th or the 14th morning. So that's when yours will go, Tennis Wolf. Let me see. Josh was in here first. Panga is refuting that. How's it going, Bierski, Tennis Wolf, Sniffix, Ernesto? Little chill market talk. We love it. Yeah, whatever you guys want to talk about, leave your questions in the comments. As always, we'll try to keep it on topic with Pokemon markets, but we might talk about things that are breaking around the house recently. We might talk about how my mower's not cutting straight and I got to look into the blades on it. We'll see where we end up. How's it going? Goliathus Gaming, Ancient Mew, Basic. I was actually just putting together some cards for Basic. I was going to show them on screen, but I'll just show the backs. I don't want to spill all the plays on what the meta decks are going to be for Flame Tower, but I got a nice pile of cards here for Basic that I was putting together before the stream. Going Brandon's, Birch. Thanks for the memberships, guys. Walrus says, come on, you're on time when I'm late. Have the new CGC slab and changes grown on you? I did so much content. I'm normally not like a content farm around the latest and greatest hot news. I'm usually super late. I did the 3-hour live stream. I did a video or 2 about it. I did a short about it, I believe. But overall, it is what it is. Whether I like it or not, it is here. It is bigger numbers. Bigger numbers generally should mean bigger money. It's as silly as it is. I think that will be true. I think 5-10 years from now, CGC will look back and be happy with the decision they made. I wish they went further, just to get really succinct on what I had said in the past hours of content around it. Get rid of the half grades entirely. 1 through 10 with a premium 10. Done. New label, I don't care. Old label, I didn't care. Like, they were fine, whatever. But that's my quick summary on where I was. Did your Pokemon 151 allocation get cut way down? Seems like they underprinted this set. So I am bad. It's been a hectic couple of weeks. I'm very bad with keeping up on what I just take all my allocations. I just had a call with my one rep this morning, and I put in a request. It's weird. I have one distributor who just says, like, this is what you're getting. And then my other distributor is like, why don't you ask for how much you want so we can tell you you're going to get significantly less? It's not like the game where they give you a certain percentage. So you just like 10x your numbers so that you, when you get 10%, you get what you actually want. I put in reasonable-ish numbers and I still get way less. But yeah, as far as, let me look. I'll just tell you. Actually, I don't have them yet. I don't have them yet for one. They kind of, the one that just tells me what they are, they haven't told me yet. And then the other one, or maybe I did. Did I put it in a pre-order? It's so weird. Yeah, I didn't even get to put in the pre-order yet. But, so I have one who's not told me what I'm getting yet, and the other one, I put in requests that I'm going to get significantly less on, I'm sure. He did specifically say, like, I've always been getting less than I've been asking for from that one, at least the past several months. He did say that this one's going to be worse than normal, so whatever that means, we'll see. Ponga's making up stories here. It's pay to play for the little stars next to your name, but there's no buying wrenches around here. Let's see. Yeah, there's not much to do. There's not much to do as a moderator, and Mr. Walrus will tell you you got to watch out because even as a mod, I might accidentally mute you, and you might get put into a 5-minute timeout. Mr. Walrus is always cool to arrive fashionably late. iFummo says, I noticed you're selling the Luffy Chinese New Year's promos in a PSA 10. Bullish on One Piece. I had someone just like cold call me on Instagram with access to a bunch of Chinese promos. I did buy a little bit of Pokemon, but they had like high quantity, hundreds. Like one thing that's very attractive to me, and so far that Luffy promo has not panned out because I think I've sold one. But I made a joke before. The higher pop, the better. The moderner, the better. I want to grade cards by the hundreds. I want to grade one card 100 times. If I can turn a $10 card with a $15 grading fee into a $20 profit, or I mean, the higher the profit, the better. But if I can make 10 or 20 bucks and I can grade 80 or 90% of them in PSA 10, that's good business. I want to grade hundreds of every 10,000 pop card. And that card just like fell into my lap and I went for it. I've sold, I don't know, it's One Piece overall. As I've strayed into One Piece, it's worked out well because I did get into some of the, I believe it was Paramount War, the set number 2, and I just flipped the cases immediately for a massive margin. But yeah, the promo so far, I've sold some raw, the grading misses, I've sold some sealed, because I think I bought like 300 of them. But anything high quantity like that in a perfect world, it would have had higher liquidity. I would have been able to sell more. It's not Pokemon. I know dealing with MetaZoo. I know dealing with Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Yu-Gi-Oh! None of these other TCGs are Pokemon. So when I bought 200 or 300, maybe I should have remembered that. All you guys, yeah, I mentioned in Discord this morning, I might need to create a tracker channel because you guys are just... 90% of Discords lately, it just feels like it's just like, hey, I'm in QA1, I'm in QA2, how long is this, how long is that? I got the, what day was that? Just a few days ago, I got Little Caesars, and I dropped my pizza tracker in the chat, and Little Caesars, they gave me an ETA of like 11:53 to 11:59, and they hit it. They were like 11:54. They were like 1 minute into their window. Very, very bullish on not the pizza tracker we joke about, but actual pizza trackers. Little Caesars is spot on. And shout out to Little Caesars. The pizza, the pizza with the pretzel crust. Stuffed pretzel crust Little Caesars. That was solid. That was very solid. Oh, my chat disconnected. Hopefully you guys are still here with me. But apparently my chat disconnected and it's still trying to reconnect. Yeah, Walrus has a golden star now. Walrus is now the golden boy. He's always been the golden boy, but now he has the golden star to go along with it. Spreadsheet mayhem. Lots of spreadsheets with the eBay vault submissions for sure. Brandon's in the Gold Club in 5 days. Is this too much shirt for a Thursday? It's 90 outside here today. Definitely nice to be inside in the AC, not outside. Trying to slide by the upcharges. I've not successfully gotten by too many upcharges lately. They seem to be doing better with them than they would historically. L-Dub's mowing the lawn. Older, rarer, mint, or better. Again, vintage versus modern. If I had to hold a card for 20 or 25 years, if I had to invest in a card, older, rarer, mint, or better. If I have to do business in cards, which is what I'm doing, business, liquidity, making margin, making repeatable plays, older, rarer, mint, or better is not repeatable. That's what makes it the better investment, theoretically. We'll see how it all pans out. I have a pretty good idea of how I think it will. But the repeatability of ultra modern is what makes it great business and what likely will doom it from investment perspective. When the pop is 10,000, it's because you can go and you can buy. Someone was just talking about the SM210s. Someone was just talking about the SM210s this morning in Discord, and they're actually a card that I sold out of. I think they were about 10 to 15 bucks sealed for the longest time, and I sold out of them. Very, very high 10 rate, very, very high pop. Beautiful card. I actually love the card. The stained glass, hidden fates, ETB promo. I don't know where I put them. Oh, here they are, I think. I'm mid way too late spring cleanup, so everything is way messier than it normally is, and it's always horribly messy. I think I bought like 200 of them, but yeah, I had tons of TCG Player Store credit from selling MetaZoo and native booster boxes. Like these are all SM210 promos I bought recently. I want to say I paid 12 to 15, and now they're going to like 18 to 20. I don't know how much of that moved up on just me doing it myself. But yeah, like this is a bunch of SM210s recently I bought, because if they're grading 80% 10 rate, I don't know what the exact 10 rate is, but pretty easy to pre-grade and get a high 10 rate. Say the 10 rate at PSA is 50%, whatever the 10 rate is at PSA, you should be able to beat that if you're being like very particular and you're doing a good job pre-grading. So CJC, PSA, BGS, I want to grade these very, very high pop cards with all three grading companies. I want to give you your blue label, your black label, your red label, whatever the customer wants. I want to have all of it in all the grades, and I want to make one listing, and I want to sell 100 of them. And I think these are going for 80 or 90 now on PSA 10. So I paid 15, say 30 with grading. How can you go wrong there? How can you go? I don't know what the 9s are doing, but just don't grade 9s. Just grade 10s. And that's more and more what I'm trying to do lately. Yeah, this whole bin is cards that I need to do a lot of stuff with, but SM210s was one of the cards that I bought a decent amount of recently. iFOMO's bullish on One Piece. I'm getting allocation. I'm probably gonna like keep going with it until it burns me once, and then I'll just quit it altogether. But as of right now, I'm just kind of like I mean, people probably wouldn't like it, but I'm just it's an opportunist flip thing. I don't know about the IP. I don't know about the game really. I have access to it through my distributor, so I'm just buying it, flipping it. I'm not gonna start playing it. I'm not gonna start watching it, reading it. I don't believe. I am a little bit ways into watching Naruto, but not really feeling it. So I think I'm gonna be done watching that. I'm trying to actually. One thing I've got to do. I've got like 80 BGS cards that just came back from Naruto. Unfortunately, no black labels with that one. I did manage a couple black label these guys. But yeah, I don't ever auction anything, but I'm honestly contemplating auctioning off a bunch of the Naruto and the Dragon Ball Z stuff. We'll have to see though. How's it going, Garen, Brandon? Mr. Walrus, prayers up for Tennis Wolf, trying to dodge those up charges. ZNG Emporium in the chat, just don't grade 9s. PSA's out here giving 42% 10s overall on everything. They're giving 42% 10s, counting WotC, counting cards that have 2%, 5%, 10% 10 rates. When you're grading Japanese, when you're grading Ultra Modern, just grade 10s. It's easy. Like that's why we love PSA. Easy, big number. 10 out of 10 is a perfect grade at PSA. And when you're looking at the right modern card, the right modern set, the right BGS set, 50, 60, 70, 80%. Overall, it's 42%, which is massive when there's tons of like WotC cards graded with very difficult 10 rates. So if you're talking mid, if you're talking English WotC, things like that, yes, grading is harder, but when you're grading the right stuff, when you're grading the liquid stuff, the ultra modern stuff, the pop 10,000 stuff, just grade 10s. PSA tracking is my favorite part of the hobby. What would be your ideal realistic grading cost and turnaround time? I've said this a few times. I think some people don't believe me. I think some people think I'm just being flippant or something. I don't want PSA to go under 15 anytime soon. I think it will be bad. Well, one, I think it will be bad for turnaround times. I think demand is too high. So 15 for 2 to 3 months is perfect as of right now. If you go lower, you're going to make it take longer. Longer than 3 months is bad. If and when demand goes down enough that they are doing them in 1.5, 2 months, whatever it may be, I feel like the sweet spot for bulk is 2 to 3 months. It gives people the opportunity to pay a little bit more and get it through quicker, which opens up some interesting plays and some interesting dynamics with depending on your risk tolerance. I mean, I'm not personally one that plays that game that much because I don't like paying PSA much more than that. And it's funny as I'm saying, like, don't lower fees. But don't let the longest turnaround time be longer than 3 months. So if and when they start doing bulk in like a month or two, then lower it down to 12, 13, whatever it may be. Do a special for 10 to 12, 10, 11, 12, 13. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do, but please don't go over 3 months. CGC, I worry. I worry what CGC is going to do with I think next week they're going to be announcing with their whole new label, all that stuff. I have no like insider info or anything, but I've heard people speculating. I think Matt Quinn in some interview, he said that you can rehold your cards for $5, which is half price of the grading. So I didn't hear that actual. I think he did an interview with Neo Cards and Comics, and I just heard shout out to Green Shiz and Professor Oak on the Slabbed podcast. I think it was last week. I think it was Josh mentioned that that whole conversation. So the theory, and I've heard it not just come from Josh, but I've heard it come from other people who may or may not have inside information. I genuinely don't know. But I would not be shocked if CGC were to go to 10 to 12. I hope that doesn't cause PSA to go down too much, because I think PSA, if they go down too much, the turnaround time will go over 3 months significantly. So yeah, as of right now, I hope CGC just stays at 15. They're fairly confident, obviously, that this whole new bigger number, bigger money thing is going to work for them. So the issue is if you change, this is like the engineer Dan, this is the researchist Dan. If you change too many variables at once, and then your outcomes start changing, you don't know what actually caused it. So as of right now, if I were CGC, I have data under blue labels. I have data under Gem Mint 9.5s. I want to change one variable, and that is the Gem Mint 9.5s now become Gem Mint 10s. You've already changed, you changed the number and you changed the label, so you've already changed a couple things. But if you change price on top of that, somebody in chat recently said they liked when I used the word obfuscate. So if you change too many variables at once, I can't talk. If you change too many variables at once, you kind of obfuscate which variable is actually affecting the outcome. So say they do the new label, which they are. Say they do the new label GenMint 10 instead of GenMint 9.5, and they lower the fees from 15 down to 10. Well, obviously you're going to get a ton of new submissions. How much of that is the cost, and how much of that is the new grading scale? I would like to keep those things a little bit separate. I mean, supposedly they have their research groups they did or whatever. But I would really like, if I were them, to get a little bit of data and kind of, again, like maybe everyone loves the new thing so much that even at 15, 12.50 or 13.50, if you had the membership, whatever it was, maybe they'll get double, triple, quadruple the submissions at the same price if it's that good of a change, right? So why would you want to run the risk of going down to 10 or 12 and then getting like 10 times the submissions and doing like a mini 2020 backlog type thing? I don't think they're going to run up to like a year backlog. But you don't want to go from having 3 to 5 business day turnaround times at CGC to making 2, 3, 4 big major changes all at once, not knowing which one actually led to the positive aspects of it. And like, how bad is it going to look on CGC if they lower the prices and then they go to like a 3 to 6 month turnaround time? With how fickle a lot of this market is, I actually think, and that's something that it's taken me a long time to get to. I don't know how long ago I put this question up on screen, but Aiden's question: when cards turn around too quickly, that is bad for prices. This stuff is cardboard encapsulated in plastic. I always talk about the Celebrations Charizard. CGC 10, way harder to get. CGC 10 Pristine, Old Blue Label, way harder to get than a PSA 10. PSA 10, 60%, 70%, whatever it was for Celebrations Charizard. The PSA ones sell for more, partially because you can't replicate them as quickly. When you can send and get the cards back, like, even if the pop is lower, we know the pop is lower, we know the demand's lower on a lot of the CGC stuff. But when you can turn that around in a business week or 2 business weeks, margins just get eaten away so much quicker. So there is such a thing, in my opinion, and I'm saying in my opinion, feeling like I don't actually have to. It's just a fact, I think, that turnaround times are helping buoy a lot of the prices. If PSA were to go to $10 and be able to turn cards around in a week, what effect do you think that would have on prices? If the cost to get them is lower and the time to get them is quicker, prices are going to tank on tons of stuff because these things are so accessible. There are so many cards out there that I look at that are $20 cards selling at $100 for a PSA 10. Sometimes I just think like, there's no way it's $100 in 3 months. So I don't do that play. When I can build, with the cardboard for 20, with the plastic for 15, I can build a $100 PSA 10 for $40. That is an amazing margin. But there are a lot of times I don't chase that margin because I don't believe in the price to the extent that I think it's going to collapse. And I don't want to buy a $20 card, pay $15 to grade it, and then in 3 months have a $45 PSA 10. Because if the cards were turning around in 1 week or 2 weeks, that's what they would be. So much of this market, it's you got to be a little careful. Like you got to be a little careful. You got to make sure you're actually playing with. Yeah, I think people know all the disclaimers I always give. Gold Star Crew checking in. Nice to see you, Brad G. Little Caesar sponsorship incoming. Hey, anyone out there, slide into the DMs. I've seen a lot of conspiracy theories out there about how I'm telling people not to check it so that I can get mine to check quicker. I think the app actually pings you now, doesn't it? I don't even have the PSA app, but I think I've seen people talk about push notifications for the app now. That would be great. That would save a lot of people a lot of time. Yeah, I got my boy Quaxley on a shirt here. Dan, I recently purchased an electric lawnmower and it costs $300 to $400 more than the gas-powered one. How long do you think it will take to have a positive EV on gas savings? You just got to do the math. I actually have. I'm a crazy person, so I have. It's called a kilowatt, It's something you can plug into your outlet, and then you like plug your refrigerator into it. You plug your computer in it, whatever you want to measure and monitor the long-term like electrical usage. So I used to have a cooler someone gave me. It's kind of like a store cooler with a glass front. I used to keep a bunch of beers in it. That stupid thing cost like $100 a month to run. So I still have it, but it's just sitting unplugged. I have a kegerator that costs more like $60 a year to run, like $5 a month. But yeah, anyways, you just got to do the math. How much gas were you putting through it a week? And then how much does it cost you to charge it every week? Do the math, find your break-even point. Nice little spreadsheet will have you sorted out. Garen just got a bunch of the SM210s back. No 9s heard. You're really going to have a bad time grading 8.5s. Just have a good bulk outlet. I mean, if your cost of the card is cheap enough and your cost of the plastic is cheap enough, we are blessed in that somehow there's still like a floor. I don't think the floor will always be around. I'm quite confident it will fall away at some point, but as of right now, there's still a solid floor on a lot of just the ability to move through mystery lots, sell to a streamer, whatever it may be, at like 10 to 12, $15 for some of these slabs. It's crazy. New emotes when? I don't think I have. I'll have to see if I have any open slots that I could use, but I could always change out. I could always swap some out. I think I might be tapped out on slots though. I'd recommend the One Piece winter cards, better margins. I have so many things that I need to get back out. A lot of the whole CGC thing, all my 9.5s got bought out. So I have a lot more just kind of cheap cards I need to grade with CGC. I did send some out to get the old label again, but I have to get some under the new label as well. Thoughts on Hello Kitty and Metazoo? Rocket Moon emojis. How could it not be bullish? I don't know the extent of it. All I saw was the one little post they made. I don't know what exactly is going to happen with it, but I mean, Hello Kitty is actually behind Pokemon. We always talk about the biggest media franchise of all time, the biggest IP of all time. Hello Kitty's number 2 for anyone who doesn't know on the Pokemon. Pokemon being number 1, Hello Kitty being number 2. Are you diamond handsing your Japanese 151 boxes? All my boxes sold same day, listed at 190. Wow, I'm not gonna diamond hands them. I'm actually, now that you say that, I have my empty case here. I only had 2 cases. I have my empty case here from the box break. I did the box breaks I did last Friday. I'm probably gonna list mine tonight. I bought them at 125, thinking I would buy more at 100, at 80, at 60, whatever they go down to. I can't believe they've gone up. Who knows? Like, maybe I'll sell my case, maybe I'll regret it. I don't actually generally look backwards. So like, if I sell them for 190 and then someone tells me in 2 years they're 500, never went down, whatever. I'm sure I'm making good margins on other stuff too. So yeah, I'll probably just sell them. Maybe, I don't know if I'll go with a sealed case or not, but I have a sealed case. Maybe I'll sell it as a sealed case, but we'll see. Let me make a note. I really should list those tonight. Or I could do, I could kind of gamble. I could gamble on the prices staying a little high, and then instead of doing a 151 break for 151, I could do a 151 break for like 180 or so. Dennis Wolf F5ing to breaking his PC. I don't understand the whole allocate, like, why would they do more work to make less money? The whole, like, Nat talking about we're going to, like, 20 million cards a year, $10 a card, we love collectors, and if they wanted to, they could say, hey, yeah, every account gets 100 a month at $10. Every account gets 100 a month at $8. They're a business. I don't know why they would do enough of those things to earn goodwill in the eyes of the consumer. That's what this all is about, right? Like, there's some amount of money worth being lost to earn goodwill in the eyes of the consumer, but overall, I mean, they're worried about their bottom line, short term, intermediate, and long term. And yeah, I just don't see I don't see them putting too much effort into getting like $10 per card grading. Maybe they tie something through the registry, but even that, like it's just them doing a lot more work to make less money. So does it really make sense? I hope CGC doesn't go below 13. 13 would be perfect. CGC's at 13.50 with membership. I think they're gonna go like 10 to 12. I think they're gonna go too far down. Hopefully they don't, but we'll see. Just getting in. Question: if you had only one set of sealed Mario Pikachu and you didn't need the money, would you sell it? Yes. It would be inventory to me, and it would be sold. I do love the word obfuscate. uh Hopefully PSA will slow back down to 1 to 2 years for bulk. I need more I need to have a lot more slabs on hand if that's going to happen. I'm not comfortable with how much I have. Beardbleed says, I agree with your assessment on turnaround times and prices. It would force us to source more cards, sell more, but lower the cost and the margins, so more work for about the same profit. Appreciate you, Professor Metri. Glad you checked that out. That was a fun chat with John. I think John's actually premiering tonight. John's premiering a thing with Pokey Chloe, I believe he had this week. So go check that out on Pokey Radar. I don't think you ever trusted me, Brad. He says I don't trust anyone that endorses Little Caesars Pizza. Tennis Wolf talking about the pizza tracker. How many PSA subs are you sending per month on average? Not as many as I want to. Last week was 3 days at Legoland. This week is trying to catch up, but it was also 4th of July. And then anyone in Discord, in the Pokenomics Discord, saw that I went to the zoo the other day. There's a drive-through zoo near me, like a safari type thing. There's a zoo and then there's a drive-through zoo attached to it. So I've been taking off a decent amount of time. The time that I have been working the past couple weeks has been that eBay Vault submission. Well, 2 of them that are going out tomorrow, 1 that's going out next week. They have been priority 1. Another priority is just tidying things up. And I just went through shoe boxes this morning, graded card shoe boxes. I found like 200 more cards that weren't listed. A lot of them were super cheap ones. I just tipped over this thing of Bumblebee Pikachus. A lot of them were super cheap things that I'm just putting in my random card listings. But yeah, I want to really lean out. I want to really lean out my inventory storage area. And a lot of these cards that are just one-off cards, Diamond and Pearl, whether they're Diamond and Pearl, the WotC, I'm not going to just fire sell. But a lot of the mid, super niche stuff, I have one of. I'm never going to get another one. I sent out 50% offers this morning. I'm not talking 50% offers on cards that were priced and listed like a year ago. I'm talking 50% offers, 30%, some as low as 10, some as high as 50. 10 to 50% offers on cards that were listed in the past 3 months. Because I just want to like chuck a ton of stuff out, get a bunch of liquidity, and I want to send 1 sub a week to PSA. I want to get to where I'm subbing once a week to PSA, maybe every other week to CGC, and then maybe once a month to BGS. So I just want to be doing like 5 to 10,000 cards a year using all 3 companies. I see merit and I see opportunity with all 3 companies. So many people, this only, that only. As of current pricing, as of current turnaround times, as of all things considered, I see extreme value. Like not just value, there is extreme value with all 3 grading companies: CGC, BGS, PSA. Amazing opportunities out there, and I'm not capitalizing on them enough because I'm falling over just stale inventory. I'm falling over like backlog type stuff, and I've been saying it for so long, and I have been getting through some of it, but not as quickly, not as much as I should be, I guess. The Digital Monster just got back some card-ass stuff from PSA. They damaged half of the cards, taking them out of the holders. Really depressing. Yeah, that sucks. More MetaZoo emotes. I've got a couple. I've got Do I still have Grill Greaser Pete? Oh yeah, I have Grill Greaser Pete. And I have the Metazoo. um, Digital Monster is excited about the CGC updates. Overall, I think I timestamped a bunch of data. I timestamped a bunch of data I had in some spreadsheets, and one thing we'll never know, like the market's gonna move somewhere regardless. Like whether or not CGC made a change, the market was gonna move in some direction in the next 6 months, 12 months, 10 years. When we look back 5 years from now, we won't know how much of CGC's current value as it stands. We can get some idea. We can get some general idea looking at PSA prices of other cards, looking at BGS prices of other cards, looking at the market as a whole. But we won't be able to separate out exactly what was CGC's change versus just the market overall. And I guess we will have like 2 million blue slabs out there we can compare some things to. But a lot of cards, there just won't be significant enough amounts out there to have like enough data to really show you that and be able to separate it out fully. Auction or buy it now for low pop PSA cards. I fight the urge. Like every month, I fight the urge to chuck a bunch of stuff to auction. I might eventually cave. A lot of it is stuff that I just have listed already, so I'm not gonna like send it out to anyone else because I've already done the hard part of creating the listing, doing the photos. I would just put them to 1 cent, 7 days, 10 days, whatever, and chuck them. If I ever do, I probably should. Like in hindsight, a year ago I should have. It's obvious now because a lot of the cards in question have gone down. If they had gone up, they would have all sold. So it's like it would have been obvious. It would have been obvious if the market was like up 10%. Up 20%, they would have all sold for higher than they would have through auction. So everything is obvious in hindsight. But low pop PSA cards, it depends on the demand. It depends on how niche they are. Some things are way too niche. Like I've been saying this more and more recently, but 95% of Pokemon cards, 95% of the time, should not be auctioned. I know. I don't know if James is still listening. The service is great, and there's great ways to utilize James' service, and I'm sure tons of people are absolutely killing it with it. If you're not doing this full time, if you don't have the time, like there are so many valid reasons to utilize that. There's also many valid reasons to utilize my buy now service. I think too. But overall, 95% of Pokemon cards, 95% of the time, get destroyed in auctions. Worse though, to be fair, worse than doing an auction to get like 50% of what buy it now sell for today is listing a buy it now today, not keeping up with the pricing, and then in a year having the price 50% down to where if you were to auction it a year from now, you'll get 50% of that future 50% value, which is 25%. So it's like it all depends on the card. The answer everyone loves. It depends. 99.5%. I have 99.8, I believe. I think I have 3 negatives currently. I think I skipped over a couple questions. Let me see if I missed any. Dan, what would you say is the minimum positive feedback that looks appealing when buyers look at pages on eBay? I just hit 200 reviews with 100% positive feedback and wondering if I'd hit that point. If I see 0 feedback, I'm comfortable buying that item. I am so far away from the typical consumer on eBay. I've made the joke before, like people who fear buying stuff on eBay and getting scammed, you must walk outside your house in a bubble. Like, I don't know how you navigate through the actual dangers and things in life. You are so protected on eBay. Buy on eBay, pay through PayPal with your credit card. You've got eBay having your back, you've got your credit card having your back, you've got PayPal having your back. 3 different institutions will help you get your money if you get scammed. How people worry about feedback. I bought from 10 feedback with 4 of them being negative before. And I wasn't worried about it whatsoever. Blows my mind. So to me, if you have anything, if you have nothing, if you have anything, I don't care. I care about the item and the price, and that's it. Obviously, if it looks like way too good to be true, and don't just go buy everything and get scammed 100 times. And if if you get a big enough sample size of buying scammy listings, eventually all three of your safety nets might fall through. Like I'm not saying go like that, but if it's I've just bought from so many zero feedback people and had no issues. I've bought from so many people with 10, 20, 30, 100 negative feedback. Like look at like Probstein and stuff. People leave negatives on a large enough scale. Like there are so many just negatives that don't mean anything. Like they're so dumb, some of the negatives that get left. And a lot of people don't really worry about getting them removed. So let me pull up Probstein on. Like some of them are just about the packaging. Some of them are just about, like I would buy from Probstein with no hesitation if I was after anything they were selling. And I think they have like 100 negative feedback, 99.4% positive feedback with 1,880 negative feedback. But they also have 260,000 positive feedback. Yeah. So reading their negative feedbacks are just hilarious. What are Obsidian Flame allocations looking like? That's one that I actually have in my little allocation portal thing. Let me look at it. So for Crown Zenith, Crown Zenith's not a good one because that's a special without booster boxes. So for Paldea Evolved from one distributor, I got 80 ETBs. And for Obsidian Flames, I'm getting 100. For booster boxes, I got 150 for Paldea Evolved. And for Obsidian Flames, I'm getting 162. So 10 to 20% higher personally, 10 to 25% higher, depending on the SKU. I'm a very small account relative to a lot of other people. So it could just be like my account has grown with this company over the past year, so my allocations are growing. There are times where my allocations might go up when the overall allocations go down. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest. That's just my data that I can share. Due to time between releases, are Japanese box breaks subsequently hurting the English market and causing set fatigue by the time we get readable cards? I have no idea. I personally don't like seeing the whole set before it comes out. So I would rather they were released sooner, but like I can't really speak for the whole market. Must be nice to have exotic mythical animals at your disposal. Yeah, the drive-through safari thing is really, really cool. And it's like $30 per person for a season pass too. Good value there. If you could sell a card that you have $20 in for 50 to 70, but it's got recent solds of 100, would you sell for that? So from one side, you can look at this and say, it's profit. Why wouldn't you just sell it and then go buy more raw with the proceeds? One thing you hurt yourself with, though, is you create a comp. You create a comp not in your favor. So is it a private sale? Is it not having a documented? Can I sell like 20 of these off market for $70 a piece? Absolutely. Am I selling it on eBay where 3 months from now, when I get my new batch in, I will have set a comp that's 30% below the current price, and I might start like the dominoes falling towards that card becoming a $50 card? I'm less prone to. So like, why would I sell it 50 to 70 when I can just list it for 100 with a 10% promotion and get them sold for effectively 90 minus fees? That would be my thinking around that. If I have one card and I'm never gonna get it again, sure, I'll sell it for 50 to 70. I don't care. I don't care if I cause the card to proceeding go down. Like if I've got a PSA 8, PSA 9 Diamond and Pearl Hollow, I've got like 100 of those right now in my store, PSA 8, PSA 9. I just want those things gone. If you want any of them, go to my eBay, send me a message offering me like some low number. I'll just take it. I just want them gone. I'm never going to grade any of those cards ever again. I want to grade like high quantity of high quality, ultra modern, high pop, high liquidity, high demand cards, and then just keep them rolling. That's not to say that I'm still buying collections. I still want to buy collections, quality collections of quality vintage cards. I still want to grade vintage, but it's a different thing. It's a very different thing, and it's a lot more labor intensive. I need to be compensated higher to want to buy a collection of 1,000 cards, 1,000 different cards. Like, you know how much work it is to buy 1,000 cards that are all different, sort them out, condition them, sell them one by one raw, sell them one by one graded, enter them into PSA one by one graded. To submit 100 cards in a week, I could literally just submit 100 SM210s. Once I'm done going through these, I might have 100 SM210s graded. I think I have another stack somewhere, but maybe this is all of it. If I have mid-era, if I have all these different things, submitting, it doesn't take forever. It doesn't take a super long time, but it takes a lot longer than submitting 100 quantity, one item quantity 100. Are you going in on any sealed boxes at Heritage Signature next couple days? I have not looked at Heritage. I've not looked at Golden, PWCC. I've not looked at eBay in so long. I've been behaving very well. I still have a decent stack of heavy packs. And one thing that I was doing heavily to kind of fuel the whole, I'm going to be the heavy WotC pack guy at Collecticons, I was counting on grading and selling PSA 9, PSA 10 booster packs. That ship might have sailed. That might be done. Against my better judgment, I'm actually going to be submitting a booster pack submission to a PSA sometime soon. I don't know where I put them, but they're somewhere around me. I'm going to give it like one last chance. And if it doesn't work, then I'm going to be done. Because I got wrecked in the last one. But yeah, if I don't have the ability to grade and sell the lights for a margin, it makes it harder to make it make sense breaking down the boxes. So I don't have a big enough channel. Like Rusty, I think, did he do it? He didn't do it this past Tuesday because it was the 4th. Next Tuesday, I think Rusty's doing Jungle first, Fossil first, and Base Unlimited, as far as I remember. So I don't have the ability to sell that quantity of like unweighed packs. I think he sells them unweighed, but then he weighs them as he rips them, and he rips them if they're heavy, and he ships them sealed if they're light. I really like the way that he's doing that, but I don't think I have the following to do that. So I'm not saying I'll never buy sealed boxes again. I'm not saying I won't have heavy packs at the next Collecticon, but it's more in question than it was before. Dennis Wolf is bullish on the meme channel in Discord. Mr. Walrus wants me to do a dedicated CGC stream. He needs my in-depth thoughts. The Digital Monster says, funny you say that. I did that and got scammed a month ago, but used my spendable funds on half the purchase, so I only got half back. eBay refuses to refund me the rest. So never use, like, in my opinion, never use eBay balance. Always get paid out your eBay balance. Always get paid out your PayPal balance. I never pay anything with PayPal balance. Why? When you have a credit card that gives you 2% rewards, not only does your credit card give you 2% rewards, 2% cash back, it gives you buyer protection. Like, I never pay with balances on anything. Because if you pay with a balance on eBay, they are the arbiter of whether or not you get that money back. If you pay with funds on PayPal, they are the arbiter of whether or not you get those funds back. If you pay with your credit card through PayPal, through eBay, that is the optimal. You're getting 3 safety nets built in. If it's like when you were younger and you wanted to do something and you'd ask dad and dad said no. So without letting mom know, you would go and you would ask mom, and if she said yes, then you would just go and do the thing you wanted to do. You have those 3 options. If one says no, you don't tell the other 2 that. You go to the next one and then you try again, and then you go to the next one and you try again, and someone's gonna say yes. Someone's gonna give you your money back, probably. When I buy from eBay, I pay by sending a check. Am I leaving myself vulnerable? All your protection sounds nice. I remember that years ago. I remember cashier's checks at the ones that I always forget which one's which. I think a cashier's check's a bank and a money order's the post office, but I might have that backwards. I remember using both years ago though. It's been a long time, thankfully. I had to use either of those. Anything above $50 market, I'm okay with auctioning. They 9-10 times they go for what they need to go for, plus minus 10%. I don't remember a single time getting wrecked on auctions and maybe 25% go over. I have very vastly different experiences. When I price stuff, like I'm actively pricing out and selling a lot of my WotC PSA 9 first edition hollows. I see auctions from some of your favorite auction consignment services. Our own Z&G Emporium, Old Skool Pokemon, TCA Gaming, and Probstein, DC Sports 87. I see auctions of some of these cards for like 110, 117. And then there's an auction for like 87, and there's an auction for 73, and there's one for 10. And I list at like 120, 130. I list above all the auctions, and they don't all sell immediately. Some of them won't sell. A year from now, some of those will still have not sold. But then there are also some. So consistently, I'm selling for at least 10, 20, 30% over recent auctions. There are times where auctions are like, there's a buy it now sold within the past month for 200 and an auction for 93. And I price it like 199 or 189 or something, and it sells. There are times where I double up auctions, like if not even more for some super niche stuff. I have vastly different experiences with auctions, but maybe that's just me being a shill for my own buy it now consignment service. I don't know. Garen M says, running into the issue again where between the PSA returns I list singles, but I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel lately and my singles are meh. Is it better to list good items less frequently? I think some people are getting way too hung up on the whole 5 a day, 10 a day. If you're listing absolute garbage that is never going to sell, eBay does not want 10 new items a day that are never going to sell. eBay does not want 3,650 new items in a year that will be listed in a decade. Make them money, they will make you money. It doesn't need to be 10. It can be 1. It can be 2. It can be 3. It can be 5. Whatever. Daily is better than not. But this kind of goes in the whole YouTube algorithm thing too. I think some people get way hung up, and I think some people way overblow the whole. Like I do the consistency thing for me. The reason I do the Monday video, the reason I do the Friday short, the reason I do the Wednesday or Thursday live, that's for me. That's so I don't fall off. I don't have this thought, this theory that like, if I skip a week, YouTube's gonna not push my video. Like, I don't think that's exactly how it works. I mean, it could in a way. The almighty algorithms are just an enigma. But I think it's more like, I think you're better off listing 1 time per week, 10 quality items every Sunday that actually sell. If you list 10 items every Sunday on eBay that sell before the next Sunday, before your next 10, and you do that every week, 10, and they're always just like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 are selling every week, eBay's going to feed you well. Like, you're feeding them well, they're going to feed you well. You make them money, they're going to make you money. So don't throw trash out there. Don't throw things that aren't going to sell. If you list things that sell, the algorithm likes that. eBay likes that. Make them money, they'll make you money. That's what it comes down to. Same thing with YouTube. Like, make them money, they'll make you money. It doesn't need to be every week. It doesn't need to be every month. There are some great creators out there, and maybe they grew more. I don't know. I obviously I don't know what the YouTube algorithm wants. Look at how slow this number moves. But I think doing a video when it's ready, when it's good, like if people click it and people stay till the end, high click through, high retention. If you're posting 3 months and then a year and a half later, and then 7 days later, and then 2 hours later, they don't care about your interval. If you're getting high click through with high retention, they're going to push your videos until they don't. You make YouTube money, they'll make you money. That's just the way these things work. Don't like overcomplicate it. And I'm doing the whole 10 a day. Like I'm kind of falling into 10 a day is very achievable for me. But there are some days that I do 100. There are some days that I do 200. Like I have a consignment. Now that the eBay vault thing is largely done, I have some stragglers that are going to go out like next Wednesday. But I have one consigner's cards, like 100 cards probably, that I'm just gonna like. I've sat on them longer than I would have liked to. Generally, I turn these things around in a couple days, but I've had these for a little over a week now. And I talked to them ahead of time. I let them know that there was going to be a delay with Legoland and with the eBay vault. But now that I have them, now that I'm ready, and I don't want to keep, I'm going to list 110 items either like tomorrow or Saturday. I'm going to do my normal 10 that's already pre-scheduled, ready to go. And then I'm going to list like all at once, all the other ones. I make them money, they'll make you money. I could talk for 2 hours about it, but at the end of the day, it's going to distill down into, and I know I said it, at the end of the day, make them money, they'll make you money. Dan, are you going to be the first to capitalize Pokemon flipping on the new Threads app? I saw Charlie's story and Zach's story and John's story. I don't use Instagram much, but I think the Instagram algorithm feeds me the same people that I always look at their stories. I don't look at like everyone's story, nowhere near, but I look at a handful of people like when I'm on there when I see them. I definitely don't see them all, but I saw like 3 or 4 people this morning or yesterday morning have something going on with it. I have no idea what it is. I've not yet looked into it. I had too much to do today. Probably tonight, curiosity will get the best of me, especially now since you mentioned it. But yeah, I have no idea what the Threads app is, so I guess I need to look into it. Radar says LOL 11 minutes ago, so I don't know what he's LOLing about, but... Oh, I want to grade stuff that takes 40 years to sell. No, my turnover, and I talked about my inventory turnover. I forget if it was in a video or if it was in a live stream or PokeFlips, wherever it was. My turnover is sub 1. So like I made a video to start the year where my sales last year were 1.2 million. My annual turnover on that number was less than 1. You don't even need to do math to know what that means. But my inventory is 7 figures, was and is maybe still 7-figure inventory, barely doing 7 figures in sales. There are businesses out there. There are people in Pokemon out there with $100,000 inventory that are doing 1.2 million a year. They're turning their inventory over 12 times a year. I'm over here turning it over 1. And some of that was artificially inflated by selling a couple big items. Some of that is artificially deflated by having a lot of high value items that I don't have realistic prices on, that I'm not trying to like fire sell. But yeah, my turnover, I want to get it higher. Like this year, if it could be like 2 or 3, I don't know if I can even get it that high, but the higher the better with certain things. But vintage is dead, y'all. Nick and Dan turning slowly. Like I said, if I had to invest, if I had to sit on something, I know what I would pick, and it would not. It would be the older rare mint or better, largely. It would be some subset of that. But if I gotta do business, if I gotta move this stuff, if I gotta sell it, do I want to sell? I sold 2 of these last 3 days. I sold 1 of these a day for the past 2 or 3 days. 300. I have PSA 10 WotC first edition hollows on my eBay not selling for less than this is selling. I just recently graded like 6 of these or 7 of these, whatever they are. A few already shipped, but I have a few more. This is better business. This is a $20 card and a $16 slab. That is better business than a PSA 10 first edition Fossil Muck or a PSA 10 first edition Jumpluff or something. Rest in peace, Nick, for pulling one of those. Is SM210 a new Celebration Zard? Grading vintage hurts. Yeah, I want to get 10s. I don't want to get 9s or less. How's it going, Raymond? How much are your base packs? I think I was doing 680 opened on stream. Maybe it was 680 and 660. If you want heavy packs, reach out to me. Just send me an email or something. I don't know when I'm doing my stream this month, but I will be doing a stream this month, potentially with 151. Probably the week of the... I don't know about the week of the 20th. I need to figure out when I'm going to do my stream before it becomes the last day of the month like it did last month. But yeah, my base heavies are like 700-ish. I'm not talking about using the CCs for leverage. I'm talking about using them for protection. With the leverage, yeah. I mean, spending someone else's money. How's it going, Braxton? Western Union money orders at Publix for the win. Walrus, how much do I need to pay to ban Ray? I got 1 negative feedback 6 months ago and the rest are all positive. Does it reset eventually or am I stuck with it? Can I do something about it? It drops off after a year. What's your opinion about missing number? I don't know. what opinion I could have on that. It's nostalgic. That's my opinion. Ray says WTF. I don't know what I was saying. I'm only 6 minutes behind him saying that comment, and I don't remember what I said that was WTF. Why am I crabby today? What did I do? Tell it like it is, Dan. I don't know what I said. Make them money and they'll make you money? Is that? Oh, when I was talking about people, maybe it was when I was talking about make them money and they'll make you money. When it comes to yearly inventory, how do you keep track of what you acquired this year and sold versus what was sold this year that was acquired in 2022 or older? My tax guy told me it matters. So not tax advice, all that good stuff. It could theoretically matter if you're doing long-term capital gains on certain things. Long-term capital gains kick in at like a year. But a lot of things I've turned over in less than a year, which is where it would become relevant. But yeah, it's kind of like a dollar thing. It's a dollar amount thing. Certain people are making so little money on paper that long-term capital gains aren't even any more advantageous than, because they're not making any money anyways. So long-term capital gains are only relevant if that rate is lower than your marginal tax rate. If you're making no money in your business, and again, none of this is tax advice, but a lot of people's strategy is to just never make money, never pay taxes. I don't utilize that, but yeah, there have been cards that I've sold, notably some of the trophy cards, notably some of the very high. Those ones are easy to track because they're very expensive, and I've closely monitored like when I bought them. And yeah, there have been times where I've taken certain cards as long-term capital gains instead of my actual rates because I showed a lot of profit last year. I showed a lot of profit in 2021. But yeah, talk deeper to your accountant. Can you do that with 10,000 different cards reasonably? No. But Pareto principle, 20% of your cards have 80% of your value. Second level Pareto, what would it be? It would be 4% of your cards should have approximately 64% of the value. So that's just, I mean, people know. I've talked about that a lot of times. It's not hard and fast. It's not guaranteed. It doesn't always work, but it's usually fairly close. So track the 4%. Track the 4% that have 64% of the value. And don't worry about the others as much. Interesting take. I'll give it a go and see what the results are versus just making listings for the sake of listing. I mean, doesn't that make logical sense too? I think it makes logical sense. The fact that people think that you can just trick it into here's a week worth of garbage, and then take it to the extreme. Here's 6 months worth of garbage. 6 months, literally 6 months, 10 a day, 1,800 listings, of which 18 of them sell. So they've got 1,782 junk listings clogging their consumers' eyeballs. Every time someone searches, eBay wants people to buy things. So if you're putting search clogging items in that aren't selling, that would be like more detrimental than not having listed anything, I would think. Like that logically follows. I don't know what their cost to host a listing is, probably infinitesimal. That's why they give you so many for free. But yeah, it just makes logical sense. Make them money, they'll make you money. Dan is sassy when he wears the Quaxley shirt. I could use a Snickers. I don't think I have any, but I could use one. Threads will die in 3 months. Here we go with the hot take. I need to look into what Threads is, but be careful with Threads right now. If you were to get rid of Threads, you would have to delete your Instagram too. Mr. Walrus wants me to follow him on Threads. I'll look into it, but I won't. Yeah, I appreciate that monotone cards. I won't just willy-nilly create one in case that's true. Yeah, update. Retrospecs has been watching daily refinement. Update your item specifics. Make a quality listing. Good title. Good photos. High sell-through rate. It's just like click-through rate. It's just like watch time on YouTube. You make them money, they'll make you money. That's what it boils down to. When you put a listing up, ask yourself, am I making eBay money with this listing? If you're listing something for just for the sake of listing something, If you know it's never going to sell, you're not making them money, so they don't care. Maybe even like worse, not only do they not care, on a long enough timeline of having such garbage listings, they will care in the opposite respect. Like, hey, this dude is just clogging up our search results. His click-through rates are miserable. When they click, they don't buy. We do not want to waste, like, consumer eyeballs are valuable. That is why billboards exist. That's why end caps get a premium in stores. That's why a lot of candy bars and sodas and stuff pay for premium access in the aisles at the checkout line, because consumer eyeballs are valuable. And if they're wasting them on you, if I invent a new candy and it goes into the checkout line, one, I'm paying to be there, and then if it doesn't sell though, like, they still won't want it because they want to make money me paying to be there, and then they want to make money on top when it actually sells and has a high sell-through rate. So yeah, make them money, they'll make you money. Subbed and liked, love finding new interesting content. As a 9-year-old PokeTuber, I will and can and need to learn from the community. Thanks for the content. Thanks for watching. Do you have a valid grading alternative for European collectors? PSA takes forever. The shipping costs and taxes are higher. It's just not a great experience. Are you grading to collect or are you grading to sell? I know that James, shout out to ZNG Emporium, he does Consignment Plus. He does that with international clients, as far as I understand. I also do a version of like Consignment Plus. I forget what I called it even. I didn't want to steal his terminology, but it sounded kind of similar. If you send me raw cards, I have international clients that send me raw cards. I grade them, and they pay just the normal grading fee, and then I sell them on buy now. I'm not a grading middleman. That's not just what I do. I only do it if you're ultimately selling it. So if you're selling it, look for a US consignor that just offers that service. If you're doing it to like collect, be patient. Like, who cares about how long it takes, right? If you're in it for the long game and you're just collecting, patience is a virtue. So I guess that's my two answers, depending on what way you're interacting. The best thing that has ever happened to me is having too much to go through that I forgot or couldn't get to things to sell them. I've constantly been in that state, and I think it's like, it's a blessing and a curse, because like, I benefited a lot in 2020 from the prices of everything going up, but a lot of my inventory has just gone down 50% over the past year as well. A lot of stuff that hasn't been listed has gone down. And to be fair, it went up 20x, 30x, and then it fell 50, 80%, so it's still up overall. But there are definitely things that I'm not executing on as well as I could be, or to the extent that I could be. If I'm not going to. If I panned my camera around this room, it is bad. It is really bad. And this room is like my office, where I'm gonna make it better. Like, I'm gonna just get everything out of here and into alternate areas I have where I store stuff. This should be just for what's listed on eBay, but I just have so much junk in the way that I'm never going to get through. And a lot of that went to Troll and Toad. A lot of that has gone out to other people. Like, a lot of that is being taken care of actively, but there's a lot that still can't even go through that, or I just haven't gotten to getting it through that. So I think there's like, it's good to always have something to do. It's good to not just be sitting on your thumbs like a lot of people seem to be doing in Discord. If you're always F5, if you have the time to always F5 the tracker, you need a little bit of a backlog, to be fair. But source more, get more stuff, because you need something to do. I will never be in that scenario, but I kind of hope I get closer to it. I don't ever want to be there fully, but I want to get closer to it. Good luck grading PSA 10 Watsy Howls anymore. Hey, I got some nice super low pop. They're still giving them out. It's just there's less of them around to be graded. I got some super low pop 7 certs that are inbound to the vault. Dan, when the day comes that Nick has to completely drop YouTube, is there going to be a farewell roast stream? I told him he has to give me a 2-episode notice. If he ever thinks he's gonna leave Pokeflips, he has to give me at least a 2-episode notice. I hope he never does, but I intend on doing Pokeflips for a long time. So if Nick is around, that's great. That's the optimal solution. But if not, I'll be asking for resumes. I linked this live stream to my accountant so he can take notes. Yeah, I'm not saying what I was saying earlier. Nothing to do with the value. Making them money. If you sell a 99-cent listing, even though it's not as much, you're still making them money. Whether it's a 99-cent listing or a $999 listing, the quality of the listing comes down to the photo, the title, the item specifics, and whether or not it sells. If you list 10 a day and they're all 99-cent singles and they're all $1.99, $2.99, that's perfectly fine if they sell. It's all about click-through and it's all about conversion. Make them money. I'm not saying like make them money, they'll make you money. That's nothing about like, oh, anything under $20 doesn't count. That's not at all what I was saying, if that's the way it was taken. I hope not. Every question, this is the answer for every question. And I apologize because I know you don't want it. When you promote a listing, what percentage do you normally use? Anywhere between 2 and 20. If I'm the only one and it's an item that people are disproportionately more likely to search by low list, I don't promote it. If it's a super niche thing that the only people that want it are going to find it, I don't promote it. Some people do like 2% across the board, 10% across the board. Those things don't make sense to me. You don't want to pay 10% to sell something that's not going to sell anyways. You can put 10%, 20% on some stuff at low list, at recent sold, and it still won't sell because you just need the right buyer at the right time. Certain things are just less liquid, way more niche, and they just need time. They need time to sit, and the person needs to come find you. But there are other things, super competitive, highly competitive. There's times where you can raise your price 20% and put on a 10% promotion, and it will sell better than if you had been low list. So it depends on the card. The answer you all love. I have noticed when I make sales, post, or send offers, seems that traffic spikes up significantly. Also, switch to returns accepted and top rated plus has boosted sales. Yeah, those kinds of things help the algorithm. Everyone should be able to easily appreciate and understand why eBay wants you to accept returns, because then it takes out them having to play like judge and jury. They don't want to have to settle disputes. They want you to sort it out. If you accept returns on everything, that automatically means they'll never have to deal with a dispute because you'll always just accept the return and give a refund. So one thing that's great that they give us, they will give you the discount in our category. They do exempt our category, not from getting the top rated badge. You need to have 1-day handling and 30-day returns to get the badge in your listings. But you can get the discount. You can get the top rated seller discount, and I do on items for which I do not accept returns. I accept returns on some items, but not all. Like 95% of items I don't, but I do accept it on some due to the higher algorithm favor it gives. So if I'm going to be selling 1,000 of an item, if I'm going to be selling literally, there are some listings in my store, I will sell 1,000 items through eventually. I am more likely to accept returns on those because if I'm selling a one-off card, having a return on that's like 100% failure rate. I sold it once and it had a return. If I have 1,000 sales through a thing and some small percentage, that just gets eaten into the cost. And it's fine. And the algorithm boost, actually Squeaks, shout out Squeaks. He was talking about this in a Discord recently. If you're selling a one-off thing, you don't need to put as much effort. A listing that you're going to sell hundreds of items or 1,000 items through, you need to put more effort. The title matters that much more. The item specifics matter that much more. The promoted rate, the whether you accept returns or not. If you're going to sell 1,000 items, you need 1,000 people to click and buy. Work harder on that listing. If you have one, I'm trying to find like a niche one-off card next to me. I mostly have like super liquid stuff next to me. Here's like no, that's not good either. I don't really have anything like one-off next to me because I'm trying to focus more on super liquid stuff. But here we go. PSA 8 first edition Koga. I have one right now. I'll probably never get another one anytime soon. Hopefully I don't. I don't need to accept returns on this. The person looking for this is a particular person. I don't need to really promote this either. Below list. Give me a card example, and I'll tell you exactly how I would sell it. Maybe I'll do that for a live stream someday. Maybe I'll just, I've done a couple of eBay listing live streams. Maybe I'll just list 10 or 20 items and show you, here's what I'm doing for the promoted rate, and this is why. Here's why I'm accepting returns. Here's why I'm not accepting returns. I don't want this coming back. No returns. Low list, no promotion, no returns. It'll go someday, or it won't, whatever. But my random PSA CGC BGS 9 Mint Plus random Pokemon card, I've already sold like 100 something through it. I'm gonna sell 1,000 or more through it. I will accept returns. I will have a promoted rate, a higher promoted rate. I will do more work on that listing because it's gonna move more stuff. I'm gonna go for about another 15 minutes right till 4:30 Quentin time. No tease pan. If I pan the camera 10 degrees in any direction, including up, if I pan up, my desk camera is actually here now. So literally, my finger is touching. So it's like a few inches off screen. I have a camera right here off screen. I have light cords there off screen. There's a light here just barely off screen. If I pan the camera in any direction 10 degrees, you're gonna see some kind of a mess. So this is a very curated slice. You can kind of see my mess down on my desk down here, but I'm gonna straighten that up soon. Not my desk, my shelf. When the stream gets to 40 likes, Dan will give out some of his weekly financial advice. We're way away from there. We're only at 14. You won't want to be Dan's first choice if he has to find a new host. Winner goes to third choice. Yeah. Monotone Card says, during which PSA cert era do you think they graded harder or easier if you were to ever buy 9s to crack and regrade? I have been very good with this rule lately. I almost universally don't buy graded cards, and it's I don't want to get too ranty here. I'm not gonna turn my lights red. This whole 2 cert, 4 cert, 5 cert, 6 cert, 7 cert, 8 cert, it's hilarious. One thing that is a constant, I guess except for with CGC. With CGC, it's like the old certs are better. One thing I was gonna say though, it's like PSA has always supposedly gotten harder grading cards. Maybe they have. Maybe there's a financial incentive, and maybe they're big branding something behind the scenes. There's actually probably like logical merit to it. But supposedly, PSA is always graded harder, and the new certs are. It's good. Like going back into the whole high turnover, high liquidity, ultra modern, ultra better, big number, big money. If the general consensus is always that ultra modern is always the best, when that even translates to PSA grades, that is so, like, Nat Turner just shed a tear of joy. PWCC, Heritage, Golden, eBay, all just shedding tears of joy. It's just hilarious. Disproportionately, the cards that are being sold, where businesses are making the most money, is in the newest product, the freshest graded product. So like all this stuff, it's just by design. Like these companies want us to think these things, and they've got us doing it so perfectly. And it's hilarious. It's actually hilarious. Like I actually love it. I don't know what more to say. You got to look at the card. I've seen 2 cert 9s that I've cracked out and regraded as 10s. I've seen 7 cert 10s that are disgusting, that are 7s, that are 6s. They've been consistently inconsistent over the years. It's just hilarious to me. Like I am all on board with the newest certs are always the best, because I'm gonna do my best to just get rid of the, how many slabs do I have? 2,000, 3,000. I'm gonna do my best to get rid of the 2,000 to 3,000 slabs I have on hand currently from PSA, and I'm gonna do my best to grade 5,000 a year through PSA. My cards will always be the freshest, 50%, 60%, 70% 10 rates, hard to grade, the hardest to grade ones, like ultra modern, ultra bigger. Like the certain numbers go up. Bigger number, better. Bigger number, bigger money. And that includes the cert number. And I love it. Like, and I don't mean to rant. It was your question, but anyone could have asked it. It's so pervasive. Like these thoughts are so pervasive, and it's so hilarious. Oh man. OSP can't be replaced. That man is too beloved by the whole community. Mr. Walrus making him big money. I promote at 50%. I'm here to make eBay money. Thanks, Dan. That'll make him money. Promoting at 50% will make him money. Some folks were calling out buy it nows. Are you willing to die on that hill? I don't know what that question means exactly. Like buy it nows being the inferior way to sell. 5% of cards, 5% of the time, auction is the way to go. This is all just my opinion. This is all just one guy, one man, grown man with a duck on his shirt. That's all this channel is. One grown man who likes that duck. That's all this channel is. So take it for what it's worth. Almost nothing. But yeah, buy it nows are the way to go. Okay, Dan, how would you list a PSA 3 reverse hollow Skyridge Zubat? Low pop. I would put low pop, prayer hands, rocket, moon, fire emojis. And I would buy it now, list it, and it would sell. No, that would be like a bulk out to a whatnot seller. Take whatever they give. I don't know what raw reverse hollow Skyridges sell for, but that would be a slab I would just want to... I want that so gone immediately. I like nothing about that. Dan, do you remember what the cutoff is for old CGC certs back when everything was 8.5? Like 3.8, 3.9-ish, 3.86, depending on who you ask. It's all kind of silly. How do I know when I reach grown man status? I don't know. I'm just I'm getting pretty ranty here in these last 15 minutes. How's it going? If TPCI printed only PSA 10 quality cards, do you think PSA would just comply and give 100% gem mint rate, or would they raise their standards / fudge their numbers? I actually alluded to that. I alluded to that in a recent video, the CGC rant video. I forget if it was in the live stream or in the video itself, but PSA runs the risk. Like right now, the market's just what they are. Big number, big money. You can see it on certain cards from time to time where like the PSA 10 suffers because the 10 rate is like 90%. And then black labels and CGC perfect 10s and CGC pristine 10s and BGS pristine 10s matter more. Like if the market actually cared about card condition, broadly, the market buys labels. For whatever reason, I mean, I actually love it overall. For whatever reason, the market largely, broadly buys labels. If and when the market ever actually cares about card condition, and if people like at PSA, when 42% of all cards are 10s, there are so many cards out there. If you want to have a top 25 percentile card, you can't distinguish it because a 10 is a perfect grade and 70, 80, 90% of all cards graded are perfect. Not only can you not distinguish a top 25th percentile card, you can't distinguish a top 50th percentile card. You buy a 10, that's like a 10th percentile card. It's literally just every card. Yeah. If and when this future where every card is a 10, if they're all 10s, none of them are 10s, right? We're pretty damn close in a lot of cards, but people still pay the premium in a lot of ways. So that's where CGC's value proposition could be. That's where BGS's value proposition is. Like this card, 25% black label rate. If you want a top 25 percentile 001 SVP, you can't get it at PSA. I mean, well, you can, but you'd have to look at the card. Ideally, you buy it raw. You buy it sealed for 25, 30 bucks, 15, 20, whatever they are now. I just bought like 200 more. I think at 20, maybe 25 a piece. Ideally, you buy a raw sealed one. Same with this. Why pay 80 for a 10? Just buy it raw sealed. Like if we were collecting cards, more people would have these and less people would have these. But people are buying labels. I love it. It's good for business. But like that's what we're doing here. There's a risk for PSA, and I'm assuming they know it. I'm assuming they're thinking about it. One great thing about WotC, one great thing about Mid-Era, if you want a top 10 percentile card, you can buy it. Buy the 10. For a lot of sets, WotC, a lot of sets Mid-Era, a lot of vintage sports, a lot of like older, rarer, minter better, you can get top 10 percentile cards at PSA. All this ultra modern stuff, you can't. But people don't care. People want easy 10s largely. So nice little rant. If they feature Quaxley, how fast are you buying Pokemon Sleep? I have no idea what Pokemon Sleep is. I feel like I've heard it before. I feel like I've known and then forgotten. Pokemon Sleep. Place your smartphone by your pillow, then go to sleep. Just like that. I did not watch the video. Apparently, a video just came out a couple hours ago. I'll have to watch that later. I don't fully know what that is. I feel like I remember hearing it talked about months ago, though. Is anything in the hobby serious, or is it all silly? It's all kind of silly. Our love for the IP, our nostalgia, a lot of the underlying stuff is serious, but there's a lot of silly stuff, a lot of silly frills built on top. How's it going, Northwoods? Another golden boy in the chat. If people cared about the balance between card condition / price, they would buy BGS 9.5. Yeah, I personally think if and when we reach a point where card condition, like 001 SVP, I think that's like a 90-95% 10 rate. PSA should grade it objectively. They should not grade, oh, well, this, like, one thing I've heard people talk about, oh, well, Jungle has bad blades and this set has bad centering. We can't have no 10s out there. Look at the pre-release Clefable. Hopefully there will never be another 10, never be a 10. If a card's not a 10, it shouldn't get a 10. Like, this one-of-one ring thing. People are like, oh my god, I can't believe I got a 9. If the card's a 9, give it a 9. Give it what it deserves. Why do people think a one-of-one Lord of the Rings card should just be a 10? It probably wasn't a 10. They gave it a 9. They're third party. Like, what are we talking about? Just give it a 10. There's only one. The market is insane on certain things. Like, I am just so far removed from some of what the market wants. But, yeah, like, that's crazy to me. Grade the cards. Don't change the scales. Or if you do, like, talk about it. CGC is at least talking about how they're changing things now. Supposedly, PSA is graded harder and easier and more 8.5. Like, set a scale and grade to it. Grade to it as best you can. Take away all the half grades. We know you put 10 buckets in front of a grader. They can't isolate which card the card should go into which bucket. PSA does do great with Ultra Modern though, because like they give 10s to all of them. They all deserve 10s. So it's like PSA is doing the best job out of anyone grading as far as like the reproducibility of their grades, the most consistent reproducible grades, because everything's just 10s and that's great. Whereas like BGS, when they give this a black label versus giving this a BGS 10, I don't believe in their ability for me to crack this and get the black label again. About 25% of the time, I think if I probably 50% of the time, if I were to crack this, it would get a black label again. Because overall, about 25% get black labels. So disproportionately, if it got the black label once, it's more likely to again. But no way it's going to be anywhere near 100%. And the same thing goes for the Pristine 10. If it got the Pristine 10 once, it's not like just going to get the black label 25% of the time. They found something wrong with it. Most of mine were actually centering. But you crack it 100 times, it's not getting 80 pristine 10s. It's going to get some amount of 9.5s, maybe a couple 9s, some amount of black labels, some amount of 10s. That's just how that's how grading works. I think the idea of grading on a curve is not healthy. PSA is not in the business of ranking condition, only assessing it under reasonable parameters. BGS standard is so human sensitive. One thing since I heard on Coffee Talks, shout out DJ Gigabyte and David Person, they have a weekly podcast for the past few months called Coffee Talks. And Dave Person talked about tag grading. I believe it's technology assisted grading. They grade on a 1,000 point scale, supposedly. And I don't remotely believe it, but I kind of want to test it. Supposedly, they say the reproducibility is 6, like plus or minus 6 out of 1,000. And they don't give you a score out of 1,000. If it's 950 or higher, I think they give you a 10. If it's 900 to 950, they give you a 9. Whatever the exact things are, I don't know. But I'm really interested in looking into tag rating and seeing if it's actually as reproducible as they say. But yeah, I'm all for just having a set of standards and grading to them. And if and when a computer ever could do that, I would be all for it. I just don't believe in it. And the market doesn't want it. The market just wants easy 10s. They want that red label for now. Like 10, 20, 30 years from now, who knows? Who knows? I am getting into overtime a little bit. I'm going to be wrapping up soon. Let me just try to catch up with the last 5 minutes. Could you do Pokemon full-time without social media, or would you go insane? I would probably go less insane. I would probably be way more productive, way more efficient. I would lose some of my sourcing. I would lose some amount of, like, overall, I do enjoy this a lot, but it does, certain things drive me a little crazy from time to time. I would probably go a little bit crazy from, like, the whole, like, isolation, working with myself. Like, I need the Poke Flips. I need this human interaction, even though it's not like face to face. Just me to the chat. It still is helpful. But overall, like, I think I would be way more productive. I think I would have way less of a backlog because I would just get through stuff. I would be less happy though overall because I do enjoy this overall. And the sourcing, some of the big collections, the consignment opportunities, it does help, like, indirectly, not so much directly. But I'm gonna wrap up here soon. As far as non-YouTube social media, like, I have a Facebook, I have an Instagram, I have a TikTok. I post on them weekly, but, like, I'm not doing much on them. Pokemon would be dead without social media. That's a more interesting question. I don't think I agree. It would probably be a lot smaller, though. I agree there. Good luck, Mr. Walrus. The whole ring thing. And then people think it was, like, weird or strange. A 9 is a good grade. Like, 42% of Pokemon cards get a 10, but 58% don't. Like, a 9 is still a solid grade. It's the second highest grade you can get at PSA, right? Who's, like, people talking about the production, blah, blah, blah. How do you know it's not post-production? How do you know it's not when the person pulled it? The person could have pulled it and dropped it on the table and scratched up the back of it, dinged the corner of it a little bit. Such silly conversations going on around the One Ring getting a 9, as if that was, like, silly. Japanese cards always hit a 10. Why is this even a topic? A lot of the recent sets don't do that, but I don't know if that was a meme or if you're actually saying that. Tag gives you the score out of 1,000, but then, like, on the label, they put, like, 1 through 10, apparently. I don't know much about it, but I need to look into it more. eHarmony has 31 levels of compatibility. We need higher points at PSA 2. Do you get a garbage plate when you go west? Garbage plates are a thing here. Garbage plates are a thing around me. I'm a fan. Like, there are ones for breakfast that have just, like, eggs and bacon and sausage and onions and greens and mushrooms, all kinds of things. I mean, that's why they call it a garbage plate. But yeah, let me wrap up there before I get strung along too much longer. I appreciate everyone hanging out. I will catch you all later.